Last year, one of these meetings had a presentation from Jeff Taylor of the BPI. Was anyone here for that? Hands up if you were here. Excellent. Oh, if you were good. And he told you about the scale of illegal downloading in the UK. And he told you that if you took the illegal downloads and you burnt them to CD and you built them into a tower, it would reach the International Space Station. Well, I can put into context for you the scale of ACS Law's activity. Bear in mind this is a single lawyer who wasn't actually that effective. If you took all of his first letters of claim that just his company sent out, not going into the second and third and fourth letters and the other companies, if you put those end to end, they too would reach the International Space Station. So, just to summarise what they did and how it worked, basically they monitored peer-to-peer networks. They collected IP addresses, at least in theory, this is what happened, and it was of the machines, the connections that were apparently sharing the works of their clients that they were monitoring for. They then applied to the courts and the UK ISPs to get those turned into names and addresses so that they could then write to the account holders and say, pay up or else, in essence, demanding £500 typically, with a long letter containing lots of legalese, significant threats and incorrect statements. And if you wanted more information, they then referred you to their website, which was so full of spin it could possibly compete with the party political broadcast. So, I've done the scale already, I'm going completely wrong order, but as long as we get there, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, there we go, good. Right, so, right, edited down this a little bit, this is the scale of the sort of human, I'm reading stuff from a sheet of paper here, which doesn't amount to anything. But these were people, I mean, Judge Burst was saying in the court, he had people ringing up his chambers in tears because of what these people have gone through. It really has screwed people up. And don't forget the scale of this. This is tens of thousands of these letters that went out. So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that are affected. So if you think of a small town, large village, 10,000 residents, you know, we're talking about several times the entire population of a town or village affected by this scheme. And that's one lawyer. So if we scale it up and look at the DEA and the provisions there, the creative rights industry is worried about increasing levels of piracy. However, nothing can justify using faulty or unreliable evidence. It is indefensible to use faulty evidence to make accusations against broadband subscribers, accusing them quite simply of things they haven't done, treating them as guilty until proven innocent. So when hundreds of thousands of pensioners start getting notifications, who is going to explain this to them? Because there won't be enough of us around to deal with that problem. So, to rewind a little, maybe I'm not going to lie to rewind a little, that's just an introductory picture, if you like, the history of speculative invoicing. So back in the day, let's say they were a proper legal firm, Davenport Lyons actually kicked this off. They adopted a German model and they took it over here. They laid the groundwork, they drafted the initial letters, they got the first court orders, and they laid the groundwork, which was largely adopting pretty much just copying the letters, the subsequent people that did this. But problems began to appear. People were getting accused, and obviously they were innocent. So Which heard about this. Which put out one of the first articles that dealt with this. That got picked up by the BBC. Which also complained to the Solicitors Regulatory Authority. And that was back in 2008, early 2008. Laudit, who Mr. Davey has worked with recently, had already got 70 cases on their books. And people don't approach a lawyer if they think, oh, I've done this, but I'll play it along and see how it goes. These are people investing money to defend their case, and there's 70 of them at this early stage. The BBC, in their article, had already mentioned the insertion of spoof IP addresses into BitTorrent clouds, so you know, we already knew what the flaws were back then. The SRA, as I say, had a complaint, but it was March 2010 before Davenport Lyons actually got referred to the Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal, still to be heard, still to have an outcome. Even now, several firms later, the whole thing has actually died out, thanks to Judge Colin Burst, in fact. ACS Law then appeared when things got a little bit too hot, basically, for Davenport Lyons. They dropped it almost overnight. ACS Law picked it up along with some of their employees. That was Andrew Crossley, who had twice before been before the Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal.